before Eden bloomed, before dust was shaped into man, before the name Adam was ever spoken, something walked the earth. The Bible begins with, "In the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth." But then, darkness, waters, ruins. The earth was without form and void. Genesis 1:2. Or was it formless once more? The Hebrew word, tohu vabohu, does not simply mean empty. It implies chaos, desolation, a world undone. Was there a world before this one? A creation before our creation? And if so, who lived there? Ancient rabbis, early church fathers, and apocalyptic texts all hint at something older. Strange beings, fallen watchers, ruins beneath the soil of Eden. Could it be that Adam was not the first, but the restart? Tonight, we open the scrolls of forgotten time. We walk the wastelands between Genesis 1:1 and 1:2, and we ask, what or who was here before Adam? In the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth. Genesis 1:1, a perfect beginning, complete, harmonious. But then, a pause, and the earth was without form and void. Genesis 1:2. The Hebrew reads tohu vabohu, a phrase used elsewhere, only in moments of ruin. He shall stretch over it the line of tohu and the plumb line of bohu, Isaiah 34:11, used to describe judgment, desolation, a world brought low. So the question rises, was Genesis 1:2 the start of creation, or the aftermath of something forgotten? This idea is not new. In the 19th century, it was called the gap theory, the belief that between verse 1 and verse 2, millennia may have passed. A cosmic war, a fall in heaven, a world shattered. But the roots are far older. Ancient Jewish texts spoke of worlds created and destroyed before ours. The Zohar hints that God built and unbuilt creations like a potter with clay. Some early church fathers agreed. Origen, Augustine, and Basil wrestled with the idea that Genesis was not a beginning, but a rebirth, and the language of Genesis supports the mystery. And darkness was upon the face of the deep. This deep, in Hebrew tehom, is the abyss, the chaotic sea, the realm of dragons and disorder. It is not an empty canvas, it is a battlefield. And into this chaos, God speaks. Let there be light, a new creation, from the ashes of something lost. Before Adam, there were kings. Strange words, hidden at the edge of Genesis. These are the kings who reigned in the land of Edom before any king reigned over the Israelites. Genesis 36:31. But why mention kings in a time before the first man had even fallen? Why speak of rulers before the garden had even bloomed? Some ancient rabbis believed these were not earthly kings, but echoes of worlds that came before. The kings of Edom, symbols of chaos, rebellion, and collapse. Each one reigned and fell. Each one without a legacy, a cycle of failed orders, broken ages, forgotten dominions. Others see in them the Watchers, angelic beings sent to oversee creation. Some remained loyal, but others fell early. The sons of God saw that the daughters of men were beautiful. Genesis 6:2. But who were these sons of God? If Adam was the first, could they be remnants of an older age? The Book of Jubilees calls them angels of the presence. Enoch calls them the Watchers, and some traditions call them the architects of the first fall, not Adam's fall, but heaven's. They may have ruled on before Adam was formed. They may have walked the earth in bodies of light and fire until they desired flesh, until they fell. and the world with them. And what followed was not destruction, but recreation. Adam did not inherit a blank slate. He inherited a battlefield. All over the world, cultures speak of a time before time, a golden age, a kingdom of light, a civilization that fell beneath the waves or into ash. The Greeks called it Atlantis, a mighty empire of wisdom and power that grew, proud, and was swallowed by the sea. The Hindus spoke of Lemuria, a vast land lost beneath the Indian Ocean, home to spiritual beings of immense longevity. In Mesoamerican myth, the Olmecs and Maya spoke of ages before this one, worlds created and destroyed over and over again. The Sumerians tell of gods called the Anunnaki, beings who came from the heavens to shape man, to teach him, to rule over him. Their stories strangely align with the Watchers of Enoch, the sons of God, and the Nephilim, and all of them point to a truth long buried, that this is not the first world, that we live in a rebuilt realm, resting on the bones of a forgotten order. Even in the Bible, echoes remain, and the earth opened her mouth and swallowed them up and their houses and all the men. Numbers 16:32. Ancient catastrophes, unexplainable ruins, massive stone structures, so old, no record remembers their builders. Göbekli Tepe, Pumapunku, the submerged city off the coast of Yonaguni. Were these cities post-flood or pre-Adam? Modern archaeology can't agree, but the myths, they whisper the same thing, that before Adam, before Eden, there were others, and something went terribly wrong. If the earth was not created in chaos, but became chaotic, then Genesis is not the first act, it is the second beginning. The earth became formless and void. Alternative reading of Genesis 1:2. Why would God rebuild? Why shape man from dust on a battlefield of forgotten glory? Unless this creation is not a simple origin story, but a redemptive act. What if Adam was not simply the first man, but the first restorer, placed not in a blank Eden, but in a world scarred by rebellion? A world where the memory of fallen sons still clung to the soil. A world needing order, balance, and image bearers of the divine. Let us make man in our image, and let him have dominion. Genesis 1:26. Dominion. Over what? Over nature? Yes, but perhaps more. Over chaos. Over spiritual forces that once ruled and fell. Adam was a priest, a gardener in a cosmic temple, a man of dust, carrying glory. But temptation returned, and the serpent spoke, not just a snake, but a voice from the ancient order, a being that remembered Aido, the time before, and so Adam fell, and the earth again groaned. The cycle repeated, but with each fall, God does not abandon. He recreates, he calls, he plants seeds of redemption in soil soaked with memory. Before Adam, there were echoes, beings of light, empires of stone, civilizations lost in flame and flood. But God began again. He formed man, not in heaven's courts, but from earth, dust, soil, memory. He placed him not in safety, but in a garden, at the edge of a battlefield. Because Adam's mission was never just to live, it was to restore, to reign, to reflect the image of the unseen in a world marred by the forgotten. We, too, inherit that call. We walk in a world built on buried ages, haunted by spirits of wars we no longer remember. But the war continues. The serpent still whispers, the ruins still groan, the watchers still watch, and God still plants. He still breathes into dust. still calls us to Eden, still asks us to guard the garden. So now we ask you, what if the first creation was not the last? What if Adam was not the beginning, but the continuation of a greater plan? And what if you are part of that plan still? If what came before stirred something within, if you glimpsed a truth deeper than time, then let the echo travel further. Tap like to help this forgotten truth rise from the ruins. Subscribe and walk with us through hidden scrolls and shattered timelines. Share your thoughts below. Your voice may awaken another. And share this with those who, like you, have always sensed the story was older than Eden. Thank you for following us this far, and until the next reveal.